Hey y'all, so today we're going to be talking about how time travel is really so simple. So simple. I think we have a tendency in the spiritual community while having a human experience to complicate things that seem complicated and complex when in fact it's so simple.
But the magic brain static when I step out. Make these bitches panic, doing damage, bitches won't cloud. You can either give me my respect or get the fuck out.
The most important part to start off with is the fact that time doesn't exist. Now, we do live on Earth in a realm where time does exist, where we have clocks, where, the sun goes up at a certain time, it goes down at a certain time, right? But outside of our human experience, outside of the matter in which we reside in, time doesn't exist. And even within this realm, in a lot of ways, time does not exist. There are varieties of different animals and beings that exist among us that do not associate their living with time the way that we do. The trees, the seeds, the flowers, the squirrels, all of them, they don't associate their being and how they operate and live based upon time. They just stay in the present. And presence is the only time that actually really does exist. And the present holds timelines to the past, the future, and present potentials within all of those variations of different directions of time. So I'm just going to give some examples of why I feel like personally time does not exist on a deeper level. I mean, because on surface level, we have already come to the conclusion that time does exist because, again, we are on Earth and we operate based off of time. But you have a choice on whether you want to operate on time or not, whether you want to operate on your timing or the collective time. So the first one is calendars. I won't be actually giving actual examples of these calendars. I recommend you do your own research, but there are multiple different calendars that are on completely different times. A lot of them, which I've noticed, is they are years ahead of us. There's the Mayan calendar, the Egyptian calendar, just to give some examples, but they are operating on a time that is way behind of our time here in America, in the United States of America. Also, if you're spiritual, you probably heard of divine timing. There are higher realms and beings and God, the God consciousness within itself, that does not operate on timing. It operates on a thing called divine timing based upon the alignment of things, the natural alignment of things. That's when things happen, is when it's aligned to happen. So that's also something to consider as far as understanding time on a deeper level. Also taking note that even though we live in a place where time is very prominent, if you notice, you can be doing something that you enjoy and time goes by a lot faster, versus if you're doing something you don't want to, time goes slower. So even though they have a measurement and a system of time, time is still even within that based off of the observer, based off of the person observing the time. So now that we've covered that and we've come to terms with realizing that on a deeper level outside of human nature or whatever, that the only time that exists is now, because that's literally the only time that exists. Now we can go into the understanding the fact that mind is over matter. And I feel like when it pertains to time travel, when it pertains to certain spiritual aspects of movement, we tend to think of it in a sense of physical, because we are physical beings. We're having a physical experience. But mind is over matter, and when you do time travel, it's going to be happening within the mind, not the matter. It's going to be happening within the consciousness, not the physical body. But an example of physical time travel would be taking an airplane, because even if you go into the next time zone, you're either going ahead of time or you're going behind in time. So with realizing that, that just goes to show that time traveling can be done within the physical body, but it's more so a mental thing. A lot of people are operating on what's called autopilot without even realizing it. And basically what that just means is that your mind is in a completely different time, whether it be in the past, whether it be in the future, while you're still actively operating in the present moment. So while you're at work, you could be doing your job, but your mind can be thinking about what you're going to eat after work, or you could be thinking about what happened last night with your significant other, or things like that. And that is a form of time travel, because again, with understanding that time doesn't really exist outside of our human experience, and that mind is over matter, wherever you place your consciousness is the time in which you're in, which is the energies that you're pulling on, or that you're engulfed, embraced into. When you're thinking about something from the past, a lot of times you're pulling and you're feeling the things that are associated with those memories, that are associated with a circumstance from the past. So then those things from your past are within your present. Like, for instance, you may have broken up with someone years ago, but if you're still not over the emotions that it created, and you're thinking about it, you're pulling on that emotional baggage from the past, which is still keeping you and your consciousness and in your emotional body. It's keeping you in the past. It's keeping you in that certain timeline. It's very important to understand, because that where you are in your present, even if it's based off something from the past or the future, it is creating that within your present moment. A lot of times when people think about things from the past, they're thinking about things that are not fulfilling to them. And that's the energy, the frequency that you're riding on, which can be disabling to new things that you want within your present moment or going into your future. Also, as a psychic, I think a lot of people have a tendency to think when they get psychic readings that if a psychic tells them that something is going to happen in the near future, that it's just going to happen. And I believe that certain things are fated to happen. I believe that we do, in our higher states and consciousness of ourselves, we sign contracts or just agree to encounter certain situations in our life for different reasons: growth, lessons, wisdom, and also different people. But for the most part, we do have free will, and our free will is very strong. When it pertains to the future, whatever it is that you believe or whatever energy that you ride off of in your present is going to indicate your future. So with being a psychic, a lot of psychics will just tap into the present energy of what's happening, and that's how we're able to pull on things from the past and the future, because people are in that energy, in those timelines, even within their present moment, without realizing it. And that's how it works. So if you're still not over your ex from a month ago, and I give you a reading and you're still in that energy, I'm going to be able to tap into that. If something that you're doing in your present moment is moving you and aligning you to timelines and a future tense, I will be able to tell you that. So let's say John comes to me and he's like, I'm broke, I need a money reading, like, can you assist me and give me some guidance on how I can make money, right? And what if I pull on John and I'm like, well, John, you're not doing anything and you're feeling bad for yourself, and this, that, and the third, so money is not going to come to you. Then John has the free will to say, you know what, I don't want this to be my situation. I don't want to be broke, like Bree told me I would continue to be if I continue to stay in this energy. So I am going to focus on things that will place me in an energy of aligning with abundance. Then John can easily fix his fate and fix the timeline in which he is moving into. There are multiple timelines existing all at one time, all in the present. And the timelines in which are available to us is based off of our free will, based upon the choices and the decisions that we make. The present is very powerful, and it's all based upon your frequency, your state of consciousness. And that's why it's important to be present, because when you are present, then you're able to connect with all the variations of different timelines that are available to you. And with being present, you can make a decision to actively and consciously align yourself with the timeline that you feel like is best beneficial for you, instead of it being something that you move into based off of the present or off of the past, because that's how cycles continue. Encountering the same types of people, encountering the same outcomes and results within particular situations and circumstances, so many things. It impacts so many things. And it's a butterfly. Another way that you can time travel is through songs. Now, there's certain songs, I know for a lot of people, or even like TV shows or movies that you watched, you know, in the past, and our mind actively connects certain memories and feelings and thoughts based upon different songs, different movies that we've encountered, different people, different smells. So you can utilize these things in order to tap into beneficial energies. And what I mean by that is, if you're trying to remember something, like remember a part of yourself, like maybe you may come to find that a song or a movie was associated with the time in your life where you were so happy, and in this present moment you're not aware of what it was that brought you so much happiness. So you can utilize these things, these songs, these movies, smells, things like that, to tap back into the memories, with that being a trigger on why and how you were so happy then, so that you can tap into that energy now. You also can use memories and songs and TV shows and things like that to trigger other beneficial energies or other abundant energies and things like that, to hone in on that, with knowing that all it takes is for your state of consciousness to be in that state of mind, to be in alignment, or just be interconnected with that memory or that trigger of that memory. You can pull on the feelings and the thoughts and things like that that come up within that, to then pull it into the present, to then utilize it, to move yourself into something and into a timeline that's going to be beneficial for you going forward. So yeah, I hope that this helps. I hope that it opens your mind. I know everybody is not going to completely agree, and I am completely okay with that, because I do believe all truths, there's multiple truths existing, and they all are true, because everything is based off of your perception anyway. So I'm just here to help people to evolve and to grow based upon things that I may say. So yeah, I hope that this helps you. My website will be in the description box below if anyone is interested in any of my services, products, etc., etc. And I will be back with another video, so make sure you subscribe.